Finally, I go to the piece that I am very fond of, what's called the Jewel of the Archdiocese. The Jewel of the Archdiocese, this time I speak about Our Lady of Fatima Church, Jalahalli. Jalahalli. You know, the word Jalahalli itself is sort of refreshing because Jala means a spring, water spring. Halli is the village. So from long traditions it has come that this was a very green and beautiful village at one time. The history of this place, at least the Catholic histories, sort of goes back to the times when what we call just after the Second World War, that the military was placed in this particular village and there was a hospital there. In fact, Jalahalli was called the hospital town and emerged as a critical base for the wounded soldiers of the Indian and Allied forces. It was in this atmosphere that Father N.D. Joseph was appointed the chaplain of these, many of them perhaps British or soldiers that came from different places, and the Indian soldiers also. And these the priest, Father N.D. Joseph, looked after every one of them, and slowly, of course, he extended his ministry to the Catholics and the Protestants who were close by and brought them for prayer, etc. Father Joseph began conducting Mass in the military barracks of Jalahalli, east and west, and in the Bell area for the Italian prisoners and the villagers from 1943 to 1947. So for the 4 years, he got all the people together. However, tragedy struck when Father Joseph met with an accident and from his return from Goa and was rendered unfit to continue the pastoral duties. He was succeeded by Reverend Father Mascarenhas, followed by priests from St. Peter's Pontifical Seminary, including Father Jake Mart, Father John Casalina, who served from 1948 to 51. In 1951, Father Anthony Sequeira took over and conducted services with a thatched roof shelter belonging to the EME, that's Electronic Mechanical Engineers. And around this time, something else happened worldwide. Of course, a few years ago, Our Lady of Fatima appeared in 1917 at Fatima, and one of the statues from Fatima was brought to India and came to Bangalore in 1952. It was placed, or perhaps for devotion purposes, in our St. Francis Xavier Cathedral. And it's at that time Archbishop Thomas Pathakumari said, why not name one of our churches as Our Lady of Fatima Church? And therefore, this is how the name of this church comes about. When the EMA was relocated and the Air Force took over the premises, the parish was asked to vacate. You know, there was a shed, but then they were asked to vacate. And a certain Father Sequeira, a man of deep faith, searched day and night for new land. And one night, he is supposed to have dreamt and found a land which he followed up. His dreams went to that place and he dug a little, buried a rosary in that land. And that land where the rosary was buried is now the land where the present church of Our Lady of Fatima, Jalahalli, exists. And to get this spot, he is supposed to have approached the Karnataka Chief Minister that time, Honorable Kadilal Manjappa, who generously intervened and secured the land for just 720 rupees. Jalahalli people, be aware that this was a small amount that time, perhaps a small amount today, but a big amount that time. 720 rupees was paid for your land. But thanks to Mr. Kadilal Manjappa, who granted this land, and that's how the Archbishop Thomas Pathakumari laid the foundation on 15th August 1955. The Independence Day is very important for Jalahalli Church. And the same Archbishop blessed and consecrated it on 8th February 1959, and we are told not only a big congregation was there, the Chief Minister of Karnataka was also there for the inauguration of your church. Following this, several priests played vital roles in shaping spiritual, physical infrastructure of the parish. I mentioned some names: Father Zuzat, Father F.A. Pinto, Father Paul Lobo, who purchased the cemetery land and started the Legion of Mary, etc. Father Maria Luis, who also started a prayer space in the cemetery and also built a chapel there. And the present flag stage is supposed to have been built by Father Maria Luis. He also started the St. Vincent de Paul Society in 84. Marking the Golden Jubilee in 2002, Father Joseph Abraham of happy memories founded the St. Joseph Industrial Training Institute. Father Joseph Abraham, always thought of the poor, and so he started the Industrial Institute, and which sort of provided training and employment. So hundreds of boys, students, and Archbishop Ignatius Pinto sort of empowered many, and under the Archbishop Pinto it progressed a lot. And Father Suzainathan, presently our beloved auxiliary bishop, Bishop Suzainathan, built the Rosary Garden with the support of Mr. Gilbert Correa in commemoration of the 90th anniversary of the Fatima apparitions. And beyond that, Archbishop Bernard Morris also blessed this garden, and the Family Nazareth group began its activities in 2009, and they continue to visiting family to say the Rosary and Bible sharing. The centenary of Our Lady apparitions was beautifully celebrated in 2017 by Father Arokyadas with the recitation of 1003 bead rosary chain on the 13th of each month from May to October. He also developed additional infrastructure, including a watchman's house, a stage at the cemetery, and since 2020, the present parish priest, Father Ganami Royce, has been serving as the parish priest, bringing spiritual fervor, administrative vision, and pastoral care to a parish that has grown significantly in number and need. Today, Our Lady of Fatima Church is not only a spiritual hub, but also a landmark of historical and communal importance. We have also the convent of our Sisters of Cluny there, which is giving education to so many of our children, and the sisters, as once again, they are doing a very good job. And many of the girls of Jalahalli can be proud to say that we studied in this Fatima convent, Fatima school of our sisters, and that is how we have grown up. The parish also has got many chapels. In fact, there are supposed to be 4 chapels there. Our Lady of Fatima Chapel in Ramchandrapura, established in 1945. St. Anthony's Chapel in Siddhartha Nagar, 1945, which we are considering to raise it to the level of an independent mass center. Then Our Lady of Good Health Chapel in Kammangondanhalli, that was built in 1955. And another St. Anthony's Chapel in Katan Nagar, 1980. So these are the chapels that are there. And also, as far as I know, there are about 2,300 families, and the church is bustling. Every mass is full, including the daily masses. There are more than 200 people, and in Sunday the people have to stand out. And for this reason, we have this growing need calls for a larger and more inclusive church, not just for worship, but also for community events, youth gatherings, fellowship meals, etc. And therefore, a new church structure is envisioned, one that reflects the unity and vibrancy of the Jalahalli's faithful, spacious and welcoming, and multi-purpose. This future church will be a symbol of the parish's legacy and hope. Let us pray for it, and I request the people of Jalahalli unitedly to support the parish priests and the other leaders there in order to build a good church for you. Such a dream requires collective prayer, planning and participation, the leadership of the clergy, the support of the civic authorities, and the generosity of the parishioners is essential. From land procurement and the design to fundraising and execution, every step must involve the community's voice. When people are together, our unity is strength. When people are divided, when people are not indifferent, perhaps the church also suffers. It can happen that there are some people perhaps who like to say certain things very strongly. We are ready to listen to you, but we don't want the people to be divided. On the other hand, a united church speaks of a united population, a united Catholic community, and also a unity that we express and show to the others. So my dear brothers and sisters, I am very happy and proud of Our Lady of Fatima Church, Jalahalli, with all our priests, with all our sisters, with all our lay leaders and families. And remember that this is a memorial church that is coming to us from Fatima itself, from the thoughts and inspiration of Fatima itself. And being the first church in our diocese that has got roots from Fatima, I'm sure the rosary, like the beads put together, will also tie you up each other together and keep you always united in love and service.